What if I told you that every shadow government rumor, every alien whisper, every "they're watching" moment isn't isolated, but connected, part of one sprawling, unseen narrative? What if I told you that the real conspiracy isn't about who's behind the curtain, but that everything is the curtain? Imagine peeling back the layers. Global surveillance, secret societies, hidden histories, and technologies that blur the line between reality and science fiction, all woven into one grand tapestry. It's not madness, it's not fantasy, it's a conversation, a puzzle begging to be explored. Buckle up, because we're diving into the only conspiracy theory big enough to include them all. The conspiracy theory of everything. Let's pull on that thread and see what unravels. What if everything were connected? Think about it. What if the UFO sightings aren't just about aliens, but about perception, government projects, and mass psychology, all tangled together? Or that every time somebody whispers, "they're watching," it isn't just paranoia, it's a manifestation of a growing, invisible digital architecture. Here's the kicker. Instead of chasing one single conspiracy, what if we step back and consider the possibility that all these theories are part of a larger mosaic, a meta-conspiracy not necessarily orchestrated, but arising from the complex interplay of power, fear, and human imagination? In this framework, surveillance isn't isolated. It's a tool used by powerful institutions, corporations, and even individuals to shape behaviors. Secret societies aren't just secret. They're symbols of our hunger to find structure and meaning in chaos. Alternate histories and suppressed knowledge become metaphors for the things we can't yet understand or refuse to question. Let's be clear. This isn't a claim that there is a grand puppet master. Instead, it's a reflection on how the idea of everything being connected shapes how we see reality. Historical threads. History loves a mystery. From the Illuminati and the Freemasons to the Bermuda Triangle and MK Ultra, each has its own legend, and yet each feeds others. The Illuminati, said to pull society's strings, has become shorthand for hidden global influence. MK Ultra, the CIA's mind control experiments, represented the darkest fringe of scientific hubris, making us question the integrity of authority. The Bermuda Triangle whispered of forces beyond explanation, drawing us into deep oceans of speculation. What if we see these not as isolated phenomena, but as cultural catalysts, symbols that fuel each other, morphing and growing? Here's the beauty. Each conspiracy becomes a piece of the larger mosaic. MK Ultra feeds fears of mind control, which feeds concerns about big tech. Secret societies feed into ideas about world order, which feed into modern critiques of globalization. They reinforce each other, even when there's no direct link. Why do these threads endure? Because they tap into deep-seated human needs, to question power, to explore the unknown, to believe there's more beneath the surface. The past becomes a playground for possibility, feeding our need to feel that history isn't just what happened, but what's hidden. The modern web, from governments to tech. Fast forward to today, big tech, data harvesting, AI surveillance, and smart devices in our homes. Everything is connected, because we are. Your phone listens, or so we fear. Algorithms shape your newsfeed, your worldview. Tech giants accumulate data that could quite literally map your life. What does that our everyday tools, our phones, our homes, our choices, have suddenly become part of the apparatus that fuels conspiracy thinking? But, and here's the twist, that doesn't make the conspiracies true. Instead, they become plausible. When people say, "they're watching," it's not just a protest, it's a reaction to a near-literal truth. Even if the "they" isn't a shadowy cabal, the feeling stems from real friction. Data is being collected, decisions are being shaped, visibility is being lost. Meanwhile, disinformation, deepfakes, and filter bubbles turn truth into a malleable concept. In this environment, multiple realities can exist simultaneously, especially online, where communities build echo chambers that reinforce belief and distrust in equal measure. So the conspiracy theory of everything isn't merely a product of paranoia, it's a mirror reflecting our technological and psychological condition. Psychology and why we love conspiracies. Why do we gravitate toward these theories? A few powerful psychological impulses. Pattern seeking. Our brains are wired to connect dots, even when there's no portrait. Control illusion. Believing in theories gives us a sense of understanding in chaos. Narrative comfort. A story, even a dark, twisted one, feels more cohesive than randomness. Group belonging. Sharing a theory can create identity and community, even if it's fringe. But that's okay. Conspiracies, at their most basic, are stories we tell ourselves about power, mystery, and the unknown. They're creative acts of meaning-making. And in that way, the conspiracy theory of everything is less about uncovering secrets and more about exploring how we think and what we fear and how we connect. The power of narrative. Stories are everything. Memes, rumors, videos, social media posts, they become threads in the tapestry. A conspiracy doesn't take flight until the story spreads. Think of a meme that suggests the moon landing was faked, not because it's credible, but because it sparked conversation and then mutated. A YouTube video that ties together chemtrails, 5G, and weather control through clever editing and emotional appeals. That's the engine, narrative. It's what turns discrete ideas into an interconnected web. Once the story takes hold, it becomes self-amplifying, shared, dissected, mirrored. So yes, the conspiracy theory of everything is as much about narrative alchemy as anything. It's the storytelling that connects the dots, whether or not the dots were ever connected in the first place. The beauty in the question, not the answer. Here's something important. Sometimes the value is in the quest, not the conclusion. Curiosity drives us to ask, why do we believe what we believe? Critical thinking follows, but inspired not by dismissal, but by intrigue. Connection and wonder comes from exploring the weird corners together. We may never find the ultimate answer, and maybe that's okay, because the true conspiracy might not be masterminded by villains, but by the beautiful complexity of the human mind, trying to make sense of a loud, confusing world. So if you'll humor the idea that everything is connected, not because someone planned it, but because we make those connections, you'll find something more profound than accusation or alarm. You'll find our hunger to understand, to narrate, and to feel part of something bigger than ourselves. And here's the wildest part. The conspiracy theory of everything never truly ends. Every day, new threads emerge. AI breakthroughs, deep space signals, unexplained phenomena, each one tempting us to connect dots that may or may not be there. Maybe that's the point. Maybe the ultimate mystery is that there will always be another mystery. So stay curious, keep questioning, and never stop exploring the unknown. We started with a question. What if the real conspiracy isn't one theory, but the idea that everything is part of one? And we've walked through history's whispers, today's tech-driven fears, the psychology that compels us, and the stories that stitch it all together. What if the real revelation is this? The conspiracy isn't out there, it's inside us. Not a cabal, but connection. Not control, but curiosity. Not certainty, but the thrill of the question. If that thought stirs something in you, if you feel your mind pinging with threads you want to pull or questions you want to chase, you're not alone. That spark of wonder, that's precisely the kind of power this theory holds. So here's what we can do next. Pose the question. Ask the people around you. What patterns do they see? What stories do they hold? Connect and critically analyze. Enjoy the narratives, but always ask, why do we believe this? What does it mean? Let curiosity drive, not fear. Let the mystery inspire, not paralyze. Thank you for riding this thought experiment with me. If it made you think, wonder, or just feel a little more alive, hit that like, subscribe, and share. Let's build a space where curiosity rules and questions are the real treasure. This has been the conspiracy theory of everything. Keep asking, keep exploring, and remember, sometimes the most radical act is simply the act of wonder. The mystery never truly ends.